What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Rainmaker Podcast, and I got the man, the myth, the legend, Ryan Ciccelli on, and he's going to be sharing with you guys how he is able to move millions in minutes. One of the top annuity producers in the country, a growing relationship where he and I got to spend some time. Where it was at some time it felt like we were the only two people in the building that was actually like working and humping. And a couple of things that I respect about him is that he moves really, really fast. He's always doing something, and he does things at a high level. So without further ado, Ryan, man, thanks for hopping on the Rainmaker Podcast, bro.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on here. We've been boys a while, and I love watching your grind. And I know you just transitioned, right? You're in Indiana now.
Yeah, man. I just moved up here, so that's been an interesting transition, but a good one. You know, whenever you're kind of upgrading or doing something like that, there's a little bit of friction, but it's been good. You know, I mean, good thing I got my business online, so that kind of helps. That it's not like my friends are kind of digital in this space, right? Like right now, right? We were, a couple doors down for a while at the Greatness Factory, where we got a chance to kind of really connect. And you really sparked this thing anyway, because you were already kind of doing some stuff, and I was like, hey man, let's just see what we can do. And it was okay then, which was probably back in like February or March, but man, something about an entrepreneur, when I feel that's something, it doesn't sit well. So I was like, all right, I got to figure some of this stuff out. And so this conversation really kind of transitioned into today was because I did come across some information and some data. And so now I'm like, man, I need to learn some more. I was like, well, who better to have on than one of the people that I respect, not just from what they say, right? From what they actually do. All I know is every time I talk to you, you like this. You're like, hold on. And then you're like, bro, I just closed another deal. So,
I think that's a big thing. And in the insurance industry, man, there's a lot of people out there that have a pretty big, they can talk pretty big, right? And so I was joking with you before. It's like, depending on who I'm talking to, if they're trying to tell me how good they are, I'm just like, hey man, show me your proof of production.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Like the numbers don't lie, right? These numbers show you who you are. So man, well, let's kind of take a step back, because I met you at the event in Murfreesboro. And it's funny enough, I was sitting at the same table with your wife. And so she was kind of giving me some directions on some things. And then she was like, yeah, my husband's here and this and that. And so that's how I ended up meeting you, which is funny how that works. And then I think we went downtown to do a meet and greet. I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna get an office. He's like, yeah, I'm thinking about it too. And I was like, I got this one. And he's like, no, I'm getting the big one. I'm getting the big one in the corner. I'm like, damn, okay. So that was pretty cool too, because I kind of like, that's kind of my mindset. So that was something that I was in line with. But Brian, take me back. Like, how did you get to where you are today? How did this all begin, bro?
Well, yeah, man. So in school, I didn't really do that hot. I partied a lot, and this is many, many years ago, right? I've been doing just annuities now for 16 years. And I got into Merrill Lynch is where I started. I started Merrill Lynch. I just interned there. I was never hired in there. So I interned at Merrill Lynch. And downstairs was a company called American Senior Benefits, and they were in the insurance game. And now I believe they're an integrity partner, but they didn't know who I was. And they just knew I worked at Merrill Lynch, but I just interned there. So every day they'd elevator pitch me. I'm like, hey, come upstairs, or come downstairs. We'll help you make the big money. And one day I said, sure, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And so I go downstairs, and then they had an awesome crew. They did life, health, annuities. And what I was there for a while, made six figures my first year in insurance. And I knew really quickly that life and health wasn't the way to go. Like the advisors made all the money. And so I started seeing the annuity production and what they were doing. And they had really good training. And so I just said, man, I can take this on my own. And this is, 2010. I can take this on my own, go independent, don't work for an agency, and I can have a lot of success. And so we did well. I built a captive agency up to 28 agents. We were doing about 15 million in a year in annuity premium. And we did health and life. But what really helped, man, was in annuities, especially like I only write annuities, it's upfront. It's a one-time commission, right? I don't take a trail option. And then, the health and life side of it, I don't do that. And so when COVID came around, and in Michigan, we were deemed inessential. And so we couldn't come in the office and work or nothing. And so my income was like out the door. I was like, oh boy, like I got to start writing business or I'm not going to have no money. Yeah. And so we started uptaking virtually and doing appointments virtual. And it took a little while to kick on. But once everyone got acclimated to, all right, we're going to be working from home for a while. We're not going to be in an office space. We're going to use, Zoom or whatever media outlet you use. They got, used to it. Then we started really catching fire. And so from 2020 to 2024, we went from writing 15 million a year in annuity production to this year we'll close out 50. And it's all virtual. It's all virtual. And so, we're nationwide. We got, our main office. I'm in Michigan right now, and then our main office is in Nashville. We got satellite offices in Sarasota, Houston, and Hendrickson, Vegas. So it's just outside of Las Vegas. And so, dude, we're booming right now, all virtual.
That's incredible, man. So, what was the breakthrough point? Like, because it's like, okay, you were doing this amount, and then you just kind of like exploded. Like, what changed? Like, what happened to where you like it all just kind of clicked?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple things that happened. One of the first ones is I started tapping the insurance industry, right? I started getting more involved, and I went to 8%. I paid to do a breakout there, and then I went to this is funny actually. I went to SWAT my first time, and my very first time, I don't know if you were there, but I bombed essentially. It was like my first time speaking on stage.
What year was that?
Oh man, it's a couple of years ago now. But
because I think 2 years ago I spoke, so I think it was the year before, because I don't think you were there when
I missed one. Yeah, so I bombed. I missed one. Worked on my speaking game, and then I went up again, and I killed it the second one. And so what I started doing is I started pivoting towards partnering with agents. We have an agent partnership program, and the agent partnership program, we would essentially pitch on stage. We have different levels of the partnership program, and that started getting me virtual. Right. That started getting me across the country. Like I'm working with agents in Texas, and I'm in Michigan, and the Zoom's really working, and they're bringing their clients on, and we're Zooming with their clients. And so what we did is we made sure everything was compliant through suitability. And we have a compliance sector of our company. And I said, how do we make all these sales virtual in every state? And so we start buying leads in every state after we had kind of proof of concept working with all these insurance agents in all these other states. And so I think getting like the breaking point was getting out there, paying to go to these events, doing the breakouts, getting known a little bit in the space. And then also, putting your money where your mouth is when you say, hey, I'm going to partner with an agent, you bring us the business. You don't have to have contracts with us. We'll act as an extension of your agency and a credible source for your client, and we'll close the business, or we'll help them get the annuity, and we'll split commission 50-50, no strings attached. Once you do that for an agent, like they bring you one or two people, but then you actually get a sale, and then you send them a check for $30,000. They're like, holy shit, right. And that really changes it. And so once you get those sales, then it started like really, I think right now in our partnership program, we're pushing 300. And then in our mentorship program, we're at 30. And then in our platinum partnership, which I just want to throw this out there, it costs $100,000 to be a platinum partner. We have 4 right now. And that's just in the last 12 months.
Which is why I wanted to connect with you, because we got like the annuity incubator where, after, throwing some spaghetti at the wall, I really dove into trying to solve this problem to getting more quality people. And at first I was like, he's like, he only want to talk to people that's got 100K. I'm like, screw it. I'm going to try to get people that only got like 250. Right. And so I'm like, all right, I got to find somebody to kind of test this out. I did it with Roy Snar. He got like 21 contracts. He was like, all right, I got a bunch of stuff in the pipeline in 60 days. And then Tia Brown's like, dude, this is crazy. 48 hours. He wrote like 365, and then he wrote like 5 IULs. He's like, bro, I don't know where these leads are coming from. That's pretty crazy like that. And so I'm like, okay. So now I'm like rounding back to the source. I'm like, there's levels to like good players, and then there's like the guy. And so I'm like circling back. And so I remember you was telling me about this, but I didn't know that much about annuities, right? Because I'm not ashamed to say that. I just didn't know. And I was like, is there a market for this? Then I started looking at how much people are charging for leads. Roy was saying he was paying like $400 a lead, but he was like, but I'm writing this much. I'm like, oh, you can make that much on annuities. I'm like, well, that makes sense why Ryan only focuses on that. And then there's some other sites where it's like 250. So that's very interesting. But I did have a question about what you just said, because most agents continue to work harder on what isn't working and bumping their head against the ceiling. And so what made you have the aha to like go on the road or like invest in like speaking on stages and kind of doing that? Because that's not traditionally what somebody would do if they got a problem with producing or growing a business. They're like, I need to buy more leads or this or that. And you're like, no, I need more people, right? I need to get more exposure. Like how did you come to that conclusion?
Well, I think I saw it with the training at American Senior Benefit. I don't want to plug them too much, but they would go out and they would recruit masses, right? And then after they would recruit masses, there would be like one or two that stuck. And they were always getting it. Like every time I walked in the office, they had an interview of 20 people going every single day. And I'm like, damn, dude. And so the reality is you have to see a lot of people to meet the right people. All right. And then once you meet the right people, then you got to form the relationship with them. And I couldn't get in front of a lot of people very quickly without paying to get on stage. And so I was like, you know what, dude, I'm just going to invest in myself. I'm a big, massive action taker. And that's one of the hardest problems I have with strategic partnerships or anything else is I'm ready to move and I put in the work and I don't let anything stop. And so I think we spent in like 4 days, we spent $100,000 pre-buying stage time and booths and, all that stuff. And at every event that I paid, I averaged between 10 and 15,000 event I paid for. I averaged about $200,000 return off each event. And and that's with selling packages. So like we have multiple packages, courses, and then also the partnership program, which costs nothing. Right. And so that was a big one. And so I'm big on expanding instead of contracting. And to give you, to give you a little back door into this, when I started getting serious about getting on stages and getting our presence, and now like we own the Annuity Expert, we own the Safe Investing Expert. We were actually at a point where income wasn't coming in because we were non-essential. This was all like our explosion was during COVID. And so it was like, I have no more money coming in. I got 400,000 in savings. That's all the money I had. Like that was like my whole life savings. And I was like, April, I'm going to blow, my wife is April. I said, April, I'm going to blow half our life savings in the next 3 months by getting known. And I didn't go like, you're not famous by any means, but what happens is you spend the money to get in front of the people. And then once you get in front of the people, you gotta build that relationship, and not only build that relationship, you got to be credible. If you were at the last SWAT, when I got up there and talked, I said, I don't got a sales pitch for you guys. I'm going to come up here and give you education, and what you do with it is up to you. But if you don't make $100,000 off the information I'm giving you right now, you need to go back to the drawing board, man, because there's something wrong in your sales process.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people that get up there on any of these stages, dude, they're fucking full of shit.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
They're trying to pitch you something or come into my sales here, do this. It's like, man, I just want to be real and give you guys legit information and education that could propel your business. And then when you have problems, you come and work with us, and then we help you close business for free. And last year our top partnered agent did $450,000.
Yeah.
And he owns his own agency. He does life insurance mainly, which is crazy to me. And then we helped him, we made him extra $450K just partnering with us on the partnership program.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, one of the things where I realized that I live with you is because you are an action taker. So things get done. But to spend $200K, that means that you got a ton of belief in yourself, a ton of self-belief.
Yeah.
But then the other thing is like working harder isn't going to get you there. You need some freaking leverage. So it's like, all right, where are all the agents going to be at one time so that I can share this message with them? And then you do that. So you really understand the power of leverage, which is you don't need to do all this yourself. You don't need to host the events. You don't need to try to recruit the agents one by one. It's like, no, you need some asymmetry where you can put this amount in, whether it's $20,000, and get a whole group of agents to come and flood through. And obviously, like you said, you'll make your return back, because saying that you're going to spend $200,000 if you don't really believe in yourself is like, well, what happens if you don't? It's like, no, that ain't the option. This has to work, or it has to work. There ain't no other option, right?
Yeah, and there's a big. I talk with Coach Burt a lot about this, but there's a big lack of people that have confidence in themselves, and I don't know if that has to do with not understanding their product or not knowing it inside and out. But like, I've never been in a scenario with annuities. You can get outside of annuities, man. You can catch me on a lot of things, right? I've never been in a scenario with annuities with a client or a battling advisor and have found myself baffled or not knowing the answer. And it's because I've been doing this for 16 years. I only specialize in this. I know that like if I get in front of someone and they have an old 401k and they're trying to pick who they're going to work with, I have a 95% chance of getting them after I have one conversation with them.
Wow.
And it's just like, again, dude, it's there's no sleazy sales stuff, man. That's like the biggest thing is the whole way that we've come up. I've never had a pitch, right? We don't close clients. I remember back at that old insurance company I talked about, they would say, how would you like to make your payment, monthly or quarterly? And then you put your head down and you have your pen and you're waiting for them and you don't look at them. First one to talk loses, right? I'm like, that shit is so cliche. Right. And so what we do is I have, our training platform is called Moving Millions in Minutes. And then our closing training is called Value is the New Close. And so you provide value, you give your clients education, you provide a solution for a problem that they have, and you allow them to make the decision. Not at any point in our training and our sales process, there's no closing. It's just them saying, yes, you've done a good job talking with us. You've opened our eyes to what's out there. And we are choosing to work with you because of your back office, because of your tenure, because of your articles. And guys, what you're seeing here is I've had millions of failures along the way, but this is 16 years compounded on itself of not giving up. And now we're doing, like I was just talking to my team this morning. Last month, my commission was $126,000 for the month. And I'm like, damn, that's a shitty month.
Oh my God, that's crazy, right? To say.
Right. I'm like, man, dude, that is not a very good month for commission. And then I have agents in my training program. They're trying to hit $5,000 a month. Right. And so we're helping them on a different level. But yeah, man, it's been full circle. And, now I think what you're going to see over the next 2 years, really, because annuities became really hot in the last 24 months. In the last 12 months, it's like everyone realizes it's a gold mine. And the only thing that I had over everyone else is, at that point, 14 years of training to be the best one in the spot of closing business. And so, we're in a high interest rate environment. Rates are going to start coming down, supposedly. But the annuity products are absolutely phenomenal right now. And I'm an independent, so I don't work with any one carrier, right? So I don't care about Equitrust. I don't care about Athene. I don't care about North American. I care about the client and what the client has going on. And we've been, by being open like that with all these carriers, we give our clients a lot of options. So we're never fitting a round peg in a square hole, right? We're always putting a round peg in a round hole. And that's another big thing, right? Doing all the suitability training, doing all the carrier training, understanding all the products, not getting tripped up, like all that stuff adds up. So when you're in the moment with the client, you can give them the best solution, right?
Yeah. So let's kind of talk through that, because I think it's interesting. You've got independent agent producing with annuities at a high level. And one of the things that I did notice was as like I'm doing lots of business with insurance agents and leads, like I'm thinking about the same thing, which is like I could go to a different market. I could go to an adjacent market of health, or I could swim upstream. And I'm like, well, I'm like, all the people that I talk to that just focus on annuities seem like they're doing good. I'm like, those are my kind of people, right? After meeting you, I'm like, I want to work with more people like Ryan, but it comes to find out there ain't that many people like you, right? So I'm like, well, shit. Right. So I'm like, well, how do I meet in the middle? I'm like, well, I need to learn a little bit more about annuities. And then we go to lunch and you start telling me about some of the mentorships and the coaching. He's like, I don't really want to get back into coaching, but I'm like, well, I feel like in the next 24 to 48 months, annuities are going to get even hotter as these things kind of come down, because people are getting frustrated and burnt out with just life insurance. The IULs is kind of a sexy thing to talk about right now, but then it's like, okay, there's another opportunity in there. It's like these same type of prospects, I can make a little bit more money. I just don't know anything about how to sell annuities. So how are you helping agents, right? Because like one of my clients was came to speak at the mastermind was an agent of yours, right? And so what opportunity is there for agents that may not know? They may like what's his name? So I'm drawing a blank right now. Evan, right? Yeah. Evan crushed it with insurance for a little bit, but he wanted to make a shift. Who walks away from $400,000 a year, right? To do that. It's like, why would somebody do that? Maybe it's just because they don't understand the opportunity that's ahead of them with this market. So what is it about annuities? What makes it so special? And then why is it something that maybe agents should kind of open their eyes to understanding, since you've been doing this for the last 16, 17 years?
Yeah, man. So like before, let's go to, back up to 2010 to 2018. What annuities really did is they outperformed CDs and they were more of a bond alternative. And so they were good for like safety. But what would happen is, let's say a client had 25% of their money in bonds, the other 75% of their money in the market. What we would do is we would actually go in and try to partner with the client to say, all right, these bonds aren't performing for you. An annuity would do better. It has better features. It could, help you here, here, and here. And so why don't we put the annuity here? And then you can still have your stock, or you can still have your mutual funds and stocks. Well, as rates continued to rise, these annuities kept getting better and better and better and better. Well, now it's like, man, these annuities are doing better than the market, right? There's no volatility. Our clients, and I can't speak for everyone, but our clients over the last 12 months are averaging 9%. Obviously, the market has a lot to do with that. But with indexed annuities, they have compounding interest. And so you lock in the interest every year. So let's say last year I made 8% on 100,000. I lock in the 8%. So now I'm at 108. And if I make 8% next year, it's on that 108,000. So it compounds every year, and you can never lose it. And the new products, because guys, times have changed. I did a podcast with Bruce Weinstein called Not Your Father's Annuities, right? It's because they've changed so much from a pension style product to, this is a really good part of my portfolio that if you don't have an annuity, you're really missing out, because they're guaranteed no loss and they're beating the market right now. And so, they're great, but I want to go back to, how do they get into this? Well, one of the big things we do on our sales training platform, Moving Millions in Minutes, is we help you work your current book of business and we teach you how to cross sell. And so you can go back, let's say you have a Medicare agent, you have a book of business of 300. We go back and we have scripts put in place, like, as I helped you with your health insurance and as I helped you with your life insurance, I'm advancing in my career. And that next step for me is getting into financial services with indexed annuity products. As I've been your trusted advisor in insurance, I can, help you out with your retirement now. And so we send those letters out. We work your book of business. We teach you how to cross sell, what questions ask. We come in as an extension of your agency. We don't take any commission if you're in our training program, and we help you work with your current clients. And so what happens is, like, if you can do one annuity a month on your own book of business, just one annuity a month in your own book, you can add 6 figures to your income with one annuity a month.
Right. And so if you got the right contracts or something like that, typically what's the rule of thumbs for, let's just say on like 100,000, 200,000 annuity, right? Like, how much can you make off of that?
I would say average industry commission 6%. So $6,000 on 100,000, but dude, on $1 million, it's 60 G's, and like that, like those people are out there, right? They're out there all the time. And so, and I say industry average, keep in mind, that's, on the top end, you can find much higher commissions. And on MYGAs, multi-year guaranteed products, the commission's like 1.5%. So, you really gotta know the annuities and what they pay, right? So just industry average 6, but we start helping you get writing just one annuity a month, or even one annuity every other month. And then we help you, unfortunately, buddy, I've been doing this lead thing for a long time. And so I think I told you this before. We have a whole sales training platform on leads and where you should get leads from and what leads work the best, right? And I say this to you because, like, we've worked with, I won't name them, but I told you before, we've worked with companies that are garbage, and they'll just take your money, dude. And if you're making, I did a breakdown on analytics with an agency that just come onto our mentorship program. And I said, with your current vendor that I know very well, if you get one sale out of every 100 leads, it's a win. And they're like,
crazy.
Are you serious? And I was like, yeah, dude, like, that's just what it is. Where there's other sources out there, which I'm not going to tell you, well, not you, but your audience, right? There's other sources out there which we're closing 1 in every 5 leads, and the average case size is 300,000. And so you can do the math on, like, how much I make from one sale. We're closing 1 every 5, and we're running 20 to 50 leads a month right now. And we're getting disruptive because we're closing a ton of business, and then we have a training showing you who to use, who not to use. I'll give you a good example real quick. We used, and I hope I don't get beat up on this too much, we used secure agent marketing back like a couple years ago. Garbage, absolute garbage. And I was very vocal with them, garbage, right? We just went back and retried CA Kaboom, and with much better results. And I told Cody, I was like, hey, Cody, kudos to you, right? Just like as before, we ran a test run with yours. We had a test run. We're figuring some stuff out. Now your system's way better. And so it's like,
yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it is somebody's the guinea pig, unfortunately, with leads. But, you know, I think the partnership that he was saying, because he was vocal about that too. I think John Wetmore, when we were in Atlanta, was talking, he kind of said the same thing. He's like, it's much better now. So kudos to Cody, because I mean, you just gotta like make some changes, right? I mean, if people out on the outside are complaining, you don't worry about that. But when your customers start complaining, that's the shit you listen to. So you got to make the changes there. So so we tried the same thing.
Go ahead.
I was like, we tried the same thing. I was like, but I was frustrated because like I know I'm the king of leads, so I'm like, if anybody else can figure this out, I know I can. And so I was like, all right. So we had kind of the marketing thing down, but it wasn't getting the tier of folks because I didn't want to attract any busters either. So I'm like, so then you were like the standard. I'm like, all right, if Ryan doesn't get excited about these, then these aren't good. And then one of my clients just happened to own a data company. So then he started getting us this retargeted Google data for people who are high net worth, average age of 64 or something, whatever it is, all this nerdy stuff. But the long story short is 250 to 500,000 to $1 million popping through. And I'm like, okay, now we're cooking with something. So now the thing is who do I get these leads in the hands of, which is kind of where I'm having this conversation with you. Because I'm like, well, how much money could an agent make doing this? You can add an extra 100,000. So I'm like, okay, so I know these are worth something.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too is you know, I work with hundreds of agents and you know, you get agents there. I have some agents, dude, they just like cheap leads. Like so here's the big thing for me. And I like quality leads, like high quality leads. I'll pay $500 a lead, but there's a huge caveat, right? So if you want a good lead, this is my professional opinion. If you want a good lead, you need to run ads on rates, right? To get the highest rates. Now, here's the problem with that. When you run ads on rates, you get a bunch of clients that want MIGAs that pay nothing. And so you're going to run ads, pay a decent amount of money to run ads. You're going to get leads in for MIGAs or the highest rates. And then your job is to show them a MIGA, but to convert them to an index, which is hard to do, right? And that's where you make all the money. The second thing is I want the word annuity plastered in every single ad 10 times. So you know I'm going to talk to you about an annuity. A lot of these cheap companies, and I'm not beating on anyone, but a lot of the cheap ads, what they'll do is they'll do the bait and switch. They'll do financial services, they'll do market protection, they'll do all these things, and they won't say the word annuity once. Annuity. And so people agents are getting 100 leads a month for $4,500. But as soon as you say, oh, we're working with indexed annuities, the client's like, no, I'm not interested. So you have to kind of work them into it. And there's a process for it, right? There's a process that I have that takes a client and they might say, I don't want an annuity, right? My setters, no, that's fine. Ryan works with everything. Not a big deal. It's a free consultation or no obligation for consultation. And then I slowly, over the course of 2 or 3 calls in a Zoom, I lead them to an annuity. But I've been doing this for 16 years, right? And so you can do that. So I think a lot of things is like, what is an agent? What could an agent like start out with? I think if agents started out with a really good understanding that annuity leads, to get annuity leads and to get the right ones, you're going to have a higher cost per acquisition. You're just going to. But the ROI on that cost per acquisition is insane, right? We did one lead, with an annuity company, a vendor company. We spent $2,500, made over 80 grand in a week. And so it's like, is that a little luck of the draw? Sure, it is. But if you're saying like, as an agent, I don't want to spend $500 and get 5 leads, that one lead could change your quarter, right?
Right. Because Roy said he was spending $400 a lead. He's spending $4,000 a month. So he was only getting a few, but he was making 80K off of it. And so it was just like, well, I mean, as long as the ROI, because most agents are just so caught up in the cost per lead, is like, no, the ROI is the most important thing.
Well, the ROI is the most important thing, but then the understanding, right? So like, you can't just buy annuity leads and then work them like you work a life lead. Like, it's a completely different process. we had a client that was buying a bunch of annuity leads and triple dialing them. And you don't do that with annuity leads. The difference between insurance and then annuities is like annuities are kind of this middle piece where you have insurance, you have annuities, and you have financial services, right? And so you treat people with brokerage accounts and financial advisors completely different than you treat someone that just has life insurance. And there's that sweet spot where annuities are still technically life insurance policies, but they're also financial services. And so you have to have a much more professional way to go about them. Triple dialing an annuity lead will never work for you. No matter what you spend on, whether it's $2 or $300, your triple dialing on annuities don't work. And so you have to have a hook. You have to get their attention. You only have a couple seconds to do it. And so getting with any mentor or your upline, to all the agents out there, before you buy annuity leads, learn how to work the annuity leads. Right. Understand the process, because you're not going to buy them and work them the same way as a life or a Medicare lead. You're just going to blow money. And we talk a lot about that, right? But there are some people out there that like to rifle through thousands of leads. So they go to a company, there's another company out there. The cost per acquisition is very low, very, very low. But then you have, for every, one legit annuity lead, you have 30 IUL leads when the campaign isn't supposed to be IULs, right? So it's like there's tricks to all this stuff. So I can't imagine your guys' world, man. Your guys' world is tough, dude.
Yeah, I think though, man, it's really like I like the challenge of trying to figure something out. And again, like my mentor says, is you try to solve rich people's problems. And so I'm like, I was getting frustrated with insurance agents talking a big game and being broke, right? It's just like most insurance agents are broke. So I'm like, okay, well, what's another problem that's swimming upstream for this? I'm like, oh, it's like, I want to solve your problems. Where it's like, wait a minute, there's a world where somebody would spend $400 on a lead. I'm like, game on, right?
Well, there's another part too, where kind of like what we're doing now to some degree, but you can have a lead, and this is what I've been getting into kind of in the background. You can have a lead company that sells leads, but then you come in as you almost sell your agency training with the lead. So it's like, hey, dude, we have a lead. This lead's going to be $300, but our agency training is 10 grand. Now this is a big jump for some people, 10 grand, but we give you a guaranteed money back within 12 months if we don't 10x your return. And so now we're not only, and I don't offer leads, but hypothetically with you can offer leads and be like, hey, Ryan Cicchelli has a training platform where all you have to do is close one of the leads you just bought from me, one. And Ryan's going to help you do that. And then once you get that commission, then come back and talk to me. But you don't have to come back until you close a lead, because once you get them to close one and that money hits their bank account. And the problem is there's advisors, there's other carriers, there's clients, there's all this noise out there in the industry. So getting the sale is the easiest part. Like getting the sale is legitimately the easiest part. And so agents are like, oh my God, I can't get a sale. And Ryan's saying that's the easiest part. It is, because after the sale, there's 20 more things you have to do to get that from a sale to the money move to commission in your pocket, right? And so those are the important things. So we come in, we help, we partner and train to get that first commission in your pocket, or to get that second commission in your pocket. And once you start getting those commissions and you get that big chunk of change, you can sit back and be like, all right, now I'm not so pressed. Now I can dial into this more. Now I can buy more leads. Now I can do all this. But it's all about getting that first sale and getting that first commission in your bank account.
Yeah, 100%. And that's kind of which is what I was excited to have this conversation with you, is because you're thinking the same thing that I'm thinking, which is one of the reasons why my coaching programs, where people were paying me 10 grand a month for some of the stuff, it wasn't only that I solved the lead problem for them. Because see, this is what happens. The infant stage of an insurance agent thinks that it's the leads that they need to solve that. And once they get these magical stream of leads, it solves all their problems. But that's the thing that keeps them from getting good at sales. Because once you get good leads, you realize that you suck at sales, which is the hard part. So now you got to get good at it, because the old stuff doesn't work anymore. And then I'm like, okay, well, once I start getting some of these annuity agents some results, that you have to optimize your process. And so you don't go from making millions in minutes right off the gate just because you got magical leads. You got to learn the skill of getting people through the pipeline. So long story short, so I'm thinking, I'm like, man, I need to introduce Ryan to my market. So as we're going through, they're not just like, okay, I'm going to buy these $200 to $400 leads from you. What happens if I get somebody that's got $1 million? Like, what do I do with them? I'm like, I got somebody for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that's where we really specialize on our partnership program, is helping those agents close that business down. Right. That's a huge win. And so not only that, though, but I was talking to a big agency just the other day. This is like 2 days ago. I have this call with this huge agency doing way more than me in business. And they go, what's your average at to commission? I said, 21 days. They said, 21 days? I said, yeah, like the average time from the time we write the sale from the time we get the lead to the time commission's in the account, it's 21 days. This company that does way more than me, way more volume than me, their average processing time was 45 days. And that's a polished process. So if you get an agent that doesn't know what they're doing, and a lot of these, and I'm gonna get beat up on this sometimes, but a lot of these IMOs suck. And a lot of these FMOs suck. Like, they tell you they know what they're doing, dude. They don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah. The more I learn, the more I realize that nobody knows shit.
Yeah, that's right. And so what, if you get an agent that closes their first sale and they're super excited, then you got to think, like, realistically, on a company that's successful, it's 45 days until you're paid. Damn, right? So I tell all agents 90 days. You got to work with me 90 days. Like, I won't do anything under 90 days because it's a waste of our time. And so 90 days is we get the business in, we get the leads in, we work the leads, we close the leads, we get the transfers done, even like Athene. So I'm like one of the number one writers with Athene in their summit program, write a ton of business with them. And when I do a transfer, because I have done transfers from Athene, I call them every day, every single day. And they're calling me like, Ryan, dude, you're an agent with us. What are you doing? I said, I'm moving this piece of business. It's old, and I'm moving it away from Athene because it's an older client. And the transfer time is 14 days, which is ridiculous. You can do this in 3. Like, move. I know you can do this in 3. And so my assistants and my team, we call every day on transfers. Even if they say, hey, my processing time is 7 to 10 days, that's great. We'll call back tomorrow. Is it still good? Do you need anything else? We don't care, dude, because we work for the client. And so, like, I have an agent that I'm training right now. They never knew they could call on transfers because their upline told them that they would call on them for them. Yeah, 21 days was the marker they will call.
So they're just waiting for the time period to pass and telling them that they're on top of it.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And a lot of these, when you get to an annuity broker or annuity FMOs, they do a little bit more, but man, dude, not much, not more than we can do by any means, right? And so when you're working with FMOs that are in health insurance and life insurance, and you're trying to write annuities, they might have an annuity department, man. But like, I've worked with, I've talked to some of them, and I'm like baffled by what they tell their agents. Because what happens is they get put in a position where maybe they weren't producing, and they're just told, they're just trained, right? So I'll give you a prime example. They said the other day, don't call Fidelity. That's what this upline told the agent. Don't call Fidelity without the client on the phone. They won't give you any info. I hung up and said, your FMO's retarded. And we called the Fidelity without the client and got the status like that. And it's just because, but they don't know because they're not actively producing every day, right? You got to be actively producing every day to know these ins and outs. And so that's where I go to. Training agents sucks. Like I told you before, I've had a coaching program. We work with them. We have agents in our coaching program. It is my least favorite part of the thing. I know this isn't ideal for a sales part, but it's not fun training agents unless they have a really good understanding, because the amount of money you can make in the annuity space is hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, if not millions of dollars a year, with the right tools, with the right leads, with the right training. And so, there's a lot to it, man. But we do have the training platform, and we do help agents all the time.
Yeah, because that's the thing that I was looking at is like I start getting these agents to some of these amazing people. What I know the problem that they're going to have is it's going to be overwhelming because they don't know what to do with some of the business. And then, everybody wants to help somebody with $1 million, but when you got that presented to you, you realize that you don't know as much as you need to, or you just need somebody to tell you kind of how to manage that situation, right? Because let's be honest, there's going to be people who, if they see you, they're going to be thinking if they want to do business with you based on if you're on their level or not. And if you don't have anybody to say, hey, we've done over $100 million and such with my partner, and just kind of leverage that credibility, then sometimes you just lose the deal because of that.
Yeah. And so what I would say this, and again, I know I'm not trying to negative sell anything, right? But this is what I tell agents all the time. Our top tier product, my top tier product, to work with me is $100,000. That's like our top tier product. Our low tier product is our partnership program where you bring us in. It costs nothing. It costs absolutely nothing. You essentially refer the business. We act as an extension of your agency. We make 100 times more on the free product with agents working with us than we do on the $100,000 product. And a lot of times it's because agents are like, hey, we just want to lean on your credibility. We have an entry-level product, and this is what I would tell anyone. If you don't want to partner with another person, you have an FMO, you're happy, you want to get in the annuity space, you want to have a good run, our training platform, you get a year's access to it for $1,000. There's like 90-some videos. It takes you through everything, A to Z. You absolutely need it. If you buy annuity leads and you have a good training platform, and you do the training platform while you're like consistently, like school, like you're really doing this while you're working the leads, you'll have success. But you can't do one without the other. And I think that's what's so hard is people try to buy the leads and they go back and they say, Arturo, the leads are garbage. When the leads aren't garbage, they just don't know. So they need that training platform so they can learn, right? And so those are the big things that are so important. We were just talking to a very, very large IMO to acquire our training platform. I told them no, because like I don't want to be under someone's thumb, dude. I don't like
people
that.
ask me that so many times. Why don't you partner with this agent and do this? It's because I can do and say whatever the heck I want, and I choose who I want to work with.
That's right.
Whenever I want to work with, because if I don't want to work with somebody, I don't care who it is. Boop.
It's right? The same. Yeah, it's the same thing on our end. We have agents come to us, and we've had one agent come 4 or 5 times, and they want to pay the $10,000 mentorship program for the year mentorship, and we won't do it.
No, it's a pain in the butt. It's not worth the stress of trying to do it. But Ryan, man, if people want to kind of look you up or like get more information, I know you got a website or social media, or like where can people find out more information? If they're like, I keep hearing you talk about this training program or like this mentorship, where can they kind of look and find out more information about moving millions in minutes?
Yeah, that's right. So we have the annuityexpert.com. That's agent facing. We also have the Safe Investing Expert. That's client facing. I have Instagram and Facebook. I'm active on both of them pretty well. So you just hit me up, Ryan Cichelli. My email is super simple. It's just ryancichelli@gmail.com. So first name, last name at Gmail. The training platform, Moving Millions in Minutes. We have ad campaigns running all the time, but you can just shoot me a DM. Tell me that you got it on Arturo's podcast, and I'll give you a discount, and I'll give Arturo a couple bucks. I'm all about rev share, baby, because this world doesn't work. Like I'm partners, man. I partner with everybody. We just did an annuity seminar for, come on. I'm going to lose it, right? Anyways, like high level engineers, but they have a specific name, but high level engineers. I partner with another annuity writer because I don't do good with engineers. Right. So this whole world is you create success by partnering with other
leverage. People. It's all just leverage, bro.
Yeah.
What you can't do in skill, you make up in leverage. That's the thing is you understand it. It's like sometimes you don't need to figure it all out, right? It's not the how, it's the who. And when I started thinking like that, I was able to solve my problems faster and better because I didn't need to know anything. I just needed to know who was the best at it. I started looking for that. Who's the best at this? Who's the best in the world at this? And there's always somebody like that. And it's like, okay, well, how can I get their help? Who knows that person, right? Yeah. How can I either get in their sphere of influence in some fashion, or how can I pay them for the information that they need? And the ultimate form of leverage is paying somebody for their services, right? Yeah. Paying somebody for it.
Yeah, 100%. And when I first met Coach Burt, I paid $10,000 just to meet him. Like my first introduction, right? When I first met Brad Lee, I paid a bunch of money to meet him to the program. And now I'm friends with those guys and we know each other. I'm really good friends with those guys.
You cannot forget somebody that gave you 10 grand. It's impossible.
Yeah. And so it helps you level up. Like, so here's a big thing is money advances time. And you have to understand that. Like if I spend money is just a tool. That's why I spend it so much, right? So I'm spending money because I want to advance time. So if you don't want to spend money on leads, you have a longer road than the guy that's going to spend money on leads. And if you get 2 months worth of Arturo's lead and for annuities and you buy a training platform, you're gonna be leaps and bounds ahead of the person that's just buying leads. And so you have to understand, like, being cheap is expensive, right? And I'm not saying like sell your car to buy leads and all that crazy shit some of those guys say. I'm just saying when you get a good sale, when you get the first one, reinvest in yourself, right? After I got the first annuity sale, I'm saying, all right, this part's going to me, this part's going to my business, and this part's going back to leads, because you have to reinvest in that. And so like every month right now, we're spending about 40 grand a month in leads. And I know that 40 grand should, for my team, turn around between 300 and 400 grand in commission every month. Like I said, my personal commission last month was just over 120,000, and that was a bad month for us. And we still look at my lead spend was probably 15 of the 40, right? So I still 10x my return almost. Guys, when you get into the annuity space, and not only that, you're legitimately putting people in products that are absolutely phenomenal. Now, here's a big thing, and I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but you got to get educated on the products, because there are bad annuities out there. There are junk annuities out there. And so if you just say, oh, annuities, and I put you in this product without doing your due diligence on the carrier, the company, the rate integrity, how long they've been around, you can get yourself in a bunch of trouble, right? And so, I see clients all the time. They say, why did my agent put me in this? Like, my agent put me in it. I haven't talked to him. Like, it doesn't grow. Well, it doesn't grow because, like, if you're looking for a growth annuity, you don't put them in an income annuity. Some agents will put them in income annuities because it's a 6% ratchet on a benefit base. Well, that's for income. That's not for growth. That a product with income riders are going to have very, very, very little growth strategy, because the insurance is this transfer of risk, right? And so if you get an income rider annuity and you want growth, and the agent says it's 6% guaranteed a year, dude, it's an income base, right? And so what the insurance carrier does is they make sure you make as little as possible on the actual dollar amount, because they're going to guarantee you income at some point in the future. So they want to make as much money as they can off you while you have the product. So it actually, like, someone might sell an income rider for growth, and you're actually fucking your client because you don't understand the way annuities work.
Right.
And that's all. We break all that down in our training, line by line, and I don't swear none of the training. So that's if you get offended by swearing, I don't swear in any of the training. But like, we have a lot of good answers out there. And one of the things that I said is I don't really like coaching, right? I don't do that's why I charge 100 grand to work with me. So that's why we built the training platform. That's why we built the virtual. You can get it for $1,000 for a year. You don't get access to me. You get access to once a month training calls, but you have a virtual platform. And we're literally, today we uploaded 6 new videos on marketing because of what's happening with rates. So our marketing section is like 100 videos long. You can go through, or you just follow me. Just follow me. Every day I'm posting. Today I posted about rates going down. Last week I posted about the rule of 100. I'm always posting about the space that I'm in. And I did one, and I'll give this to all your guys. Do a story or a reel. I do stories, and I just said, hey, if you have an old 401k with an old employer, after it goes from an employer sponsor plan, it moves to an individual sponsor plan, and your fees actually go way up, and they get auto assigned to an advisor that has no clue who you are. I can actually roll that old 401k into an IRA, and you can make 15% just by moving it. Shoot me a DM, no obligation for consultation. We rolled $400,000 off that one video. In 3 days, we rolled $400,000 at a higher commission than 6%. And that was,
what's crazy about that? I remember sending you fire emojis on that one because that one was super dope. And I knew what you were doing, but it was I was like, dude, that was fire. I knew that one was going to hit. That was probably one of the ones I was like, dude, that's super dope.
Yeah, so, and less than 60 seconds. So in less than 60 seconds, I made close to $39,000 on 400 Gs.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, guys, go ahead and check out Ryan Cichelli. Definitely a big time Rainmaker. Ryan, man, thank you so much for hopping on the Rainmaker podcast. Make sure you don't exit out of here, but I am going to end the podcast. But again, if you guys want to check him out, Ryan, where can they go and find you online for the website? What is it again?
Yeah, theannuityexpert.com. And then again, just hit me up on social, right? We a lot of our funnels are all on social media for the training platform. Once you look my name up, they'll start following you around. I'm sure of it. But just check me out on social media: Facebook, Instagram, Ryan Cichelli. Hit me up, and I'll be happy to talk to anyone for a little bit.
Awesome. Guys, go ahead, click the link. Man, you dropped a lot of gems. We'll see you on the next one.